Welcome to Business Talk, our weekly University of Rio Grande, Ohio State University South Center's podcast show. We are here at the University of Rio Grande TV studio, and not only are we doing live internet radio through Blog Talk Radio, but we're also live on the Jackson Educational Access Channel and Channel 17, University of Rio Grande TV. Our podcasts are archived and placed on YouTube for viewing and listening again. Our mission is simple: to promote the University of Rio Grande and its diverse educational programs, promote the Ohio State University South Centers and its many business technology programs, and to promote the many great businesses and organizations in our area. And finally, promote Southern Ohio, a great place to live, learn, and enjoy life to the fullest. Our co-hosts are Jason Winters, who is currently swimming the English Channel this week. He'll be back next Wednesday. And he's the director of the Center for Small Business Entrepreneurship. And Mike Thompson, Instructional Design and Media Service Director, both with the University of Rio Grande. We also have Patrick Dengel, Business Development Specialist, and Kimberly Rausch, Program Assistant, both with the Ohio State University South Centers. And myself, co-host Nate Walzer. This week, we will be featuring Dr. Wesley Thoene, Associate Professor of Marketing and Management with the University of Rio Grande. Wes, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Wesley Thoene. I just became a doctor last year about this time. I've been working at Rio for, I think, 7 or 8 years now. It seems like forever. I'm also the faculty advisor for the Rio Grande chapter of the American Marketing Association, or the AMA. Born and bred in southeastern Ohio, grew up in Pomeroy. Still live there to this day. I was a graduate of Ohio University, where I got my bachelor's degree back in 2003, my master's all the way back in 2004, and then I got my PhD from North Central University last year, as I said.
And your love, from what I understand, is marketing and management.
Yes. 3 things I love to talk about: football, women, and marketing. Football, I don't think you guys want to hear about. Women, I'm terrible with, so probably marketing is what we're going to talk about today, right?
Well, maybe we'll have some time and we'll talk a little bit about what makes you think you're so terrible with women, but that'll be later on.
That's longer than half an hour right there to go.
So what did you do for your PhD in marketing?
My PhD, my dissertation, was on basically word-of-mouth marketing with different students and how they choose college courses. What it really looked at was, you guys have seen it with students. As a student, you've probably seen this as well, is when students are talking about who to take for a certain class. A lot of times you have your friends saying, don't take this person, they're tough. Don't take this person, or do take this person, they're really, really easy. This one has no homework, take this class. Sometimes you have advisors telling you to take certain classes. Do we listen to them? Sometimes you have parents. I've noticed through the advising situation, a lot of times you have parents, especially with freshmen and sophomores. You tend to get a little bit more involved in what classes you take, especially the common line. I had that person when I was in college. And then also looking at electronic media sources like RateMyProfessor.com. We're seeing more and more. MySpace used to have a faculty, or dating it now, but I used to have their own faculty rating systems. But how many
do people actually use RateMyProfessor.com anymore?
Not really, no. It was probably the least effective of all of them. They found out that actually advisors were the most influential, which really, really stunned me because I figured it would be their friends. Push come to shove, you listen to your friends and who they say to take, but really they tend to listen more to their advisors.
Or maybe not listen, but they're the authority, so okay, I'll take it even though I don't want to. And
exactly. They deemed them, most frequently consulted was advisors. They were deemed to be the most influential and the most reliable among all 4 sources. So students really apparently are listening to us, which is always a good sign to know.
Good. So we have a School of Marketing, but a marketing program
someday
here, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what does that prepare you to do?
Well, the big thing about marketing, I know a lot of students, especially if they're in high school or they're looking for a major, and I know my first couple of quarters at OU is I thought, well, I don't want to be a used car salesman, and that's what you pretty much have to be if you go into marketing. I don't want to, call up people on the phone during supper time and try to pitch something to them. But marketing is a lot more than that. In terms of marketing jobs, you can become a brand manager. I have a couple of friends who do that. Basically looking at figuring out how they can better adapt the product to customer needs. Advertising is one that a lot of students really, really like, talk about quite a bit. Developing those advertisements, commercials that you see during the Super Bowl. Figuring out what people are actually looking for, what kind of message really resonates. A lot of times now where they're even moving more into social media, running the Twitter account for that corporation is something. That's an actual job that's out there. Responding to customer requests. Customer service is a form of marketing as well. Adapting the product, figuring out what kind of changes you're going to be making, how you're going to price it. Buying and selling, running logistics. I have a couple of students who have graduated who do that. Trucking routes, things like that, figuring out how you're going to get the product from point A to point B. Warehousing, not exactly the most exciting stuff in the world, but still decent paying jobs that are out there for marketers.
So a marketing person is not necessarily just the mouthpiece or the person that figures out just the advertisements and the TV spots and radio spots that you put out there. Sounds like it's more sometimes a two-way street where you would get information from the consumer back to the company to make their product more appealing to the consumer, and a way to voice that to the consumer.
Exactly. Any good kind of marketing is always a two-way street, as you said. A lot of times what you'll see is you'll see marketers that go out there and they have to find out what the customers want. You don't want to just push a bad product on them. Again, that's kind of why the whole used car salesman has a bad stereotype. I've got this car right here. No matter what you say or want, I'm going to push it on you. But really, a good marketer finds out what those customers need and want. And that goes back to the idea of marketing research. If you've ever been to the mall, somebody's taking kind of a minute of your time and they take 15 minutes. There's little customer cards you see at Wendy's that you fill out, how was our service today? All of that's marketing research. A lot of the contests and things that they run these days, where they're trying to redesign logos. I think Mountain Dew last year or so had the vote for the Mountain Dew flavor you wanted, the blue, purple, or pink. All of that's marketing research, finding out what customers want. Hopefully they take that information, they get it, take it back to the company, work with R&D, develop the product that customers are wanting, and then you have to tell them about it. Products just don't sell themselves. You have to go out there and proclaim it from the mountaintops, run the commercials, run the advertisements, put the online banner ads, things like that to really get people excited about the product itself. So it is a two-way street.
Has marketing changed since you first got into it, as far as what medium, because, I don't know, AM radio is probably dead, or,
With all the new social medias, marketing.
FM, television, satellite, how has that changed since you've got into it?
Well, it's moved a lot more towards, like anything has, it's moved more towards the internet and electronic advertising. And what we've seen to that degree was, it used to be TV. TV was the big thing. Advertising the Super Bowl put millions and millions of dollars into it. But what companies are moving away from is that and moving more towards the internet, and even away from the internet to some degree. Social media, as you said, is very, very, very popular. If you notice on Facebook, if you have a Facebook account, a lot of times on there they'll have these advertisements that just seem to be specially crafted to your interests. So if you are an Ohio State fan, and if you've got that in your profile, they'll have Ohio State advertisements. I'm a Nebraska fan, go Huskers. And you'll see those little Nebraska advertisements on the side. They'll look at what cookies, what websites you've been to, and they'll come up with advertisements based along that. If you're a gamer, you might notice that a few of the games now have around the stadium for the soccer game. They'll have actual companies that are located there. They pay for that kind of advertising as well. They have something that's known as crowdsourcing. And what crowdsourcing is, it's where you try to let customers design their own product, their own advertisements. And maybe you've seen before, Gap a few years ago redesigned their logo, and it lasted for about a week because people complained it was terrible, it was awful. And they told them, their customers basically, fine, you develop your own. And what they came back to was the original. That was the one that people really, really, really wanted to stay with.
Maybe I'm dating myself, but maybe that's another example of the same thing like New Coke did. Mm-hmm. And they went to Classic Coke, and they finally killed it. And even farther back was the Mustang. I don't know if you remember, the Mustang was going to be killed for the Ford Probe. The Ford Probe was the replacement for the Mustang, and the die-hard Ford people was like, oh no, this won't work.
Oh yeah.
And so they kept the Mustang.
People tend to be very, very loyal, and the other thing that we're seeing is they're trying to engage their customers. Very few of us, maybe even in here, don't like to sit and watch commercials. We don't like people telling us, this product is better. We tend not to believe it. We're cynical. And especially with younger groups like Generation X, Generation Y, and the millennials, the tweens that we see out there, they tend to want to be more active. And so what they're doing a lot of times now is they're letting them develop their own commercials, letting them come up with their own ideas. And that's something you see quite frequently. I think there was an advertisement during the Super Bowl this past year. They had a little disclaimer on it that said this was invented or created by our own customers. And that's becoming a big thing, getting them involved. A customer who's willing to go out there and shoot a 30-second commercial in the hopes it'll become on TV, that's a pretty good customer who's taking your product very seriously.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk
and it's about forming relationships.
Yeah.
More so now than it used to be just, here's a message, believe it.
And some people are even arguing that they're moving away from the internet. There's also some people who are claiming that we're moving more towards mobile marketing. And you notice more and more of that. I think back in 2008, I think I saw a statistic, companies spent like $600 million on mobile marketing. In 2013,
What's mobile marketing?
Through your cell phone. In 2013, it's supposed to be $3 billion.
How do they market through your cell phone? I don't understand.
Well, they're working on it quite a bit, and you'll see sometimes some of the websites you go to, they'll have advertisements on there. That's becoming more and more frequently. Have you noticed any more pop-ups? Like if you go to ESPN.com now, every once in a while there'll be a pop-up that comes up. They are coming up with programming for that. They've got some other pretty creative ones that are out there. App development is really, really popular. I think it's there's one paint company that has an app where you can take a picture of a wall. Say you've got, like my house, you've got something you need to patch up. And if I just take a picture of it, it'll tell me the exact color in that product line that that company has to offer. There was one I saw a few years ago, and I was trying to find this because I talked about it in class. It was a toilet paper company that developed an app that told you basically ratings for bathrooms around your vicinity. So you could GPS it and find out which bathrooms were really, really sketchy and which bathrooms were paradise. So if you're out late at night, you got to find a good bathroom, you can just click that and it'll tell you that. It has customer ratings, it has customer reviews of those bathrooms. Those kinds of things are out there. QR readers, if you've noticed, kind of look like little barcodes you see on movie posters. You'll see on products. You guys get coupons in the mail a lot of times now. It's got a little QR reader on there. And the reason for that is a lot of times we want to go to the company, we want to go to the store, we forget the coupons. But instead you can click on that, coupons right there on your phone, you can redeem it that way. And that's becoming a very popular way of disseminating coupons.
You can also scan, I think in some places, I don't know if it'd be like Best Buy, you can scan the barcode of the product and it'll bring up the whole product sheet and, you know, maybe even a commercial about it.
Yeah, and that's growing quite a bit too. Some stores are even looking at creating a way of tracking where your phone is. So say that you walk into Macy's or say you walk into JCPenney, the phone knows that you're there and it sends kind of an alert to JCPenney's or Macy's through their Wi-Fi, and it sends coupons to your phone at that very minute. So while you're in the store, you have coupons available. They can kind of point you towards, you know, certain products or whatever. And a lot of that's because they're trying to get that younger market. I think 18 to 29-year-olds, 90% of them in the U.S. have phones. And if you're like me, you do not want to be without your phone any length of time. You start to go through withdrawal, get the shake, start freaking out if you don't have your phone on you. So they kind of recognize that that's the way things are really going.
Do you think younger generations overlook the idea of privacy? You know, older people may think, well, I don't want to be tracked. I don't want them to know everywhere I've been and what I've searched and all that stuff. I want to keep that to myself. Do you think the younger people are not aware or don't care?
I don't think they care. You know, when I was in high school and they started doing the Kroger card, it was one of the earliest ones where they kind of track what you're buying and offer you the discounts and things like that. And I know we had people in class that was just like it was the apocalypse. You know, companies are tracking us, Big Brother, chips are coming, you know.
Yeah, that's what your frequent buyer card at like Kroger and different places. You swipe it and you get a discount, but then they also know what you buy and can send you coupons for those things.
Yeah, and that's the argument I get from kids now. I'll ask in class, I'll say, you know, is anybody here freaked out by this? Anybody creeped out to know that they're tracking everything, that Google might be watching every search you do?
Yeah.
That, you know, Best Buy knows what you're buying, that Kroger's knows if you have a kid or not. And there was a pretty interesting story we had in class about Target. I guess Target was tracking, they tend to track and see what people are buying. And they found out that certain products tend to predict if somebody's pregnant or not. And they had this 15-year-old girl who basically hit the triggers that bought the products that tend to be bought by pregnant people. So they called her up on the phone and tried to sell her these maternity products and things like that. And her dad picked up the phone. And her dad was not happy whatsoever about this because
he didn't know.
Well, at this point, they didn't know if she was pregnant or not. So he's like, you know, you're trying to sell my daughter these products. This is terrible. This is awful.
Yeah.
Come to find out, a couple weeks later, he called Target and apologized. Or I guess they called him and wanted to, you know, work customer service and say, you know, we're really sorry about that incident. You know, we didn't mean to. It happened because of the software. Guy kind of looked down, muttered into the phone, she was really pregnant. You guys found out before I did. So a lot of these companies tend to know more about us than what we do. And a lot of the younger people just don't care. I ask about it in class and people say, hey, if it gets me a coupon on that product I want, I'm fine with it. And if it helps me out, gets me the brand of milk I want, the brand of beer I want, and they send me a coupon or whatever, it's great. It works out. So they tend not to really care a whole lot.
Coming from the older generation, though, that does concern me. And it's not so much the coupons, it's the how they store, how that information is kept.
It's shared or whatever.
And shared. And along with that is your buying habits. And linked with that is personal information. I guess being of the older generation, the baby boomers and things of that nature, I have a difficult time trusting that. And yes, I do get coupons from Kroger's, I do get some other kinds of things, but rarely do I ever use that. And so consequently, you know, we baby boomers, there's still 78 million of us. And if we are not into that technology as much as the millenniums, how do you market to us?
Well, they're trying to bring you the baby boomers more into it, and you'll notice a lot more of commercials that talk about how easy to use the technology. And I think it was Macy's a few months ago that ran a commercial. Am I getting paid for every one of these little endorsement deals? But Macy's was running an ad that basically showed how you could use the QR reader, and it basically showed people going in there, you know, taking a picture of it, and so simple, and you can unlock coupons and hook it up to your card and do this, that, and the other, just by showing people that hey, it's really easy to do. Again, security is something that you see all the time, that they're always trying to tell you how secure this is. I don't even do e-banking because it creeps me out.
Neither do I.
Or mobile banking, and that's a huge trend amongst the younger people, is they love their mobile banking, and I guess I'm too old for that. But it kind of creeps me out.
I think these QR codes are going to have a short life. They're quickly coming up with, just a picture recognition. I mean, even now you can take a picture of the front of a book, and Amazon can tell you what book that is and price it. So pretty soon you're going to be able to just take a picture of the product with your phone and then get pricing, what this person has it for or that company has it for.
And we watched a
those
special.
QR codes are going to probably go away pretty soon, I'm guessing.
Yeah, we watched a special in marketing management class to talk about Best Buy and how they're having so many how many problems they are having right now with their whole trying to come up with, get customers in the door. Well, customers, what they do, and you'll probably see this if you go to Best Buy, is they'll take a picture of the product, like you said, go to Amazon, get a whole list of prices, and then basically go home and order it.
Right.
So they can go see it, brick and mortar, try the product out, check out the remote, see if it works all right, see what the picture looks like, the screen, picture-in-picture.
It's nice. Where can I get the best
Exactly.
price?
And they take a picture, send it on their phone, and that's what Best Buy's really having a huge time dealing with right now. That's one of the reasons why they're in trouble.
Because then you have more overhead because they got to keep the lights on, the people in the store, and it's not just a warehouse where we just ship.
And if you notice, they got rid of their CEO about a month or so ago because they said he wasn't adapting enough to the new marketplace.
Well, speaking of adapting, one of the things that we have seen more often than not is the level of education and the technology that forces universities and colleges to adapt. And in your years of experience in working with different school systems, etc., and now that you're associate professor here, you do a lot of use of technology in education, correct?
Some, yeah.
And one of the things that you have found is with the University of Rio Grande, I believe you're doing a lot of online education?
I'm not. No, I like the in-class. I'll offer a class here and there online, but predominantly most of the marketing are in-class. The technology we do use, same as most people use, the overheads, things like that. We do show a lot of video clips. The great thing about marketing is advertising, promotion. You've got so many examples of it. Super Bowl ad reviews, all that stuff is YouTubed, what to do, what not to do. So we do incorporate quite a bit of that in there. Some of the research thing, we have to run the equations and things like that, we use the computer for.
So you pretty much like that personal one-on-one contact where you can see the whole individual rather than just and that's why the AMA has been really successful, hasn't it? Tell us about the AMA.
Well, the AMA stands for the American Marketing Association. There's two different levels of the AMA. There's a professional chapter, which includes people who work in maybe Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, all the major cities. And there's also a collegiate division of it. And the collegiate division, it basically sets up student organizations on college campuses across the U.S., Canada, and Puerto Rico. And basically, it's a good place for students to get together and get a little bit more experience in business and in marketing. Kind of preface it with, it's not just limited to marketing majors. We've had a lot of accounting majors in the past. We've had an English major. We've had a chemistry major. I think we've got an education major in there right now. So it is open to a wide variety of majors, but it's a really good student organization. It does give students a pretty good taste for business. They're very, very active on campus, one of the most active groups on campus. For example, One of the big things that we do every year is we do the School of Business Visitation Day, where we go around to all the local high schools, invite the kids out for a day on campus. You participate in that as of you. Basically getting the kids on campus, showing them what business can be, showing them it's a lot more fun. It's not what they tend to think of. I know most people in high school, at least when I was in high school, thought, I don't want to go into business, work in a cubicle in a suit all day. It's office space. Who wants that? But show the kids that it can be fun. There is a creative aspect to business, and at least get them to kind of figure out if that's what they want to do or not. And I always tell the kids, if you come out, you have a great time, great, that's what we want. But if you come out and you say, don't really want to do business, I learned today that's not really what I want to get into, well, we helped you narrow down your selection by a major. So the AMA goes out to the high school.
How many schools participated in that? There were a lot.
There were a lot of schools. I think last year we had maybe 7 or 8. We set a record with 207 kids, so that was more than we've ever had. The year before we took it over, we had 7. Well, the school had 7, and then we took it over and got up to 207 this past year. So, and we have a lot of people that help out. I know Mr. Thompson does the sound and everything for us, helps get that set up. Kingsley Meyer is instrumental in that as well, getting the computers and things. We have a lot of faculty members who come in and judge, which you've done several years now. It's a great opportunity for the kids to come out, see campus. The teachers love it. They bring busloads of the kids because it shows college isn't scary. They tend to think that all of us professors walk around and are robots and are mean and kick puppies and wear our robes every day. And so what this does is it shows them, hey, we're people. Get to know us. We want that personal connection there. And the AMA again goes to the schools, helps run the day's events, helps plan it out, serve as runners, make sure we don't lose any high schoolers. It's been 5 or 6 years now, haven't lost a kid yet. So that's always a point of pride with us.
And the students the students that come from the high schools basically come in to market their school. I mean, not like we're going to be buyers, but in a practice of marketing, they come in and tell us how nice or how well their school performs and try and convince you that, Jackson's #1 or whatever.
Exactly, and the great thing about that is there's a marketing component there with the whole promote your school. There's also an IT component with you're designing brochures, you're doing flyers, you're doing PowerPoint slides. I mean, the technological knowledge those kids have is amazing, stuff that they can do already. And then also there's a management aspect because they have to manage their teams. I get every so often I'll come back the next year and somebody will be like, well, we would have won if it wasn't for Fred in our group, or Tim really sunk us. So what you're really doing is you're teaching them management skills as well, working in a time frame with, you've got criteria that you have to meet. The only thing we really haven't worked into is accounting, but if you bring in accounting, you'll scare the kids off. So we've got those 3 things there that really help the kids. Again, the feedback is always really, really positive from the schools. They tend to love it. The teachers ask about it every year if we're going to be doing it again. And it's one of our major recruitment tools for the School of Business, which works out well because it is the marketing group that does it. The AMA also does several community service projects through the year. We've worked with the Mulberry Community Center in Pomeroy quite a few times, school supply giveaways, Christmas gifts for kids, the angel tree, those kinds of issues. We've had a food drive on campus for a soup kitchen last year. Also on campus we did the Humans vs. Zombies, which was a smashing success of students running around campus with Nerf guns shooting at each other, which as I tried to explain to somebody who didn't go to college, and they just looked at me and said that's what college is now. But again, real fun time. We had 100 some odd kids participate in that, which was a huge event. The AMA also sponsors several speakers. We've had a resume workshop on campus as well to try to help students. We've noticed that business students get sick of doing resumes because they have them in every class. By the time they get to the 4th or 5th class, they just zone out. But the problem is a lot of kids in other schools don't get the resume. They're more focused on art, more focused on history, math, whatever. They don't have a class that says this is how you do a resume. So we open that up and bring in kids from all across the campus to work on their resumes. And of course the big thing is the International Collegiate Conference, the big student trip to New Orleans every year where the kids and I go down there. And that's a great opportunity. It's a huge conference. I think they had 1,100 kids there this past year from all over the U.S. It's kind of the capstone. All the fundraising we do, a lot of the training and things that we do here on campus kind of builds up to that. And again, it brings all those students to this the Sheraton in New Orleans. We have several speakers from large corporations. One of the most interesting ones every year is we have a guy who's the head marketer for the Miami Heat. And he goes in there and talks about how they got LeBron, how they got Dwayne Wade, how they got Chris Bosh. He always gets booed because nobody likes LeBron. We get them in there, talk about it, how he marketed to them, how they try to bring in free agents, a lot of the sports marketing aspect. We've had representatives from Smuckers, they've had from Bacardi's, they've had Carnival Cruise Lines. One of the really good ones, too, is they had the New Orleans Visitors Bureau come in one year and talk about how they tried to bring people back to New Orleans following Katrina. They said 4 years after the fact, they were still getting phone calls, "Are you underwater?" From people that had no idea that the city had rebuilt. So It's a great opportunity for the kids. They're going to sit in the conferences, sit in the sessions that they want to. They offer training for the following year for officers, so they can go to that. They have headhunters that come in there, look at resumes. If you're interested in a job, they'll interview you. If you just want to practice, they'll do that with you as well. There's practice sessions set up where they can go through your resume, critique it. They will help you with any kind of interviewing skills that you may have lacked during that. And then, of course, they have the big awards ceremony at the end of the conference, and that's on Saturday night. They bring everybody into this huge conference room and present the annual awards. So this past year...
You were pleased.
I was very pleased this past year, yes. We had a record for us of 5 awards. We had Outstanding Fundraising, Outstanding Planning, Outstanding Membership. We finished 3rd place for the National Website Award. If you want to check us out, www.riograndama.org. And then we also were Outstanding Small School Chapter, which is kind of what we've been going for the last 2 or 3 years. We're up against chapters that have budgets of $100,000. We're happy if we have $100 in the bank at any time. So they kind of break those up into the big groups and the small groups, and we were one of the outstanding small groups this past year, so we were very pleased.
And looking at one ads and the prospects for people coming out of college with a marketing degree, a lot of these jobs are looking, it's like, well, we like to see 5 years of successful marketing. How does a person graduate from a program and get a job? Or how do you get over the hump of that experience?
That's the big quandary a lot of students have. You can't get the job without the experience. You can't get the experience without the job, as the saying goes. A lot of the students are using their internships. Rio Grande, of course, has the internship program available to them. I've got several students out on internships
Where
this
would
summer.
you intern?
We've had a few that are interning at banks. We've had a few that have interned with Holzers, local hospitals, and things like that. Just kind of get their foot in the door. And a lot of times it comes down to who you know, and what that does, it helps them introduce them to people that may be hiring eventually. And I think the internship program has been pretty successful in that.
Very much so, but both on the undergraduate and the MBA program. As a matter of fact, Nate, this is part of Nate's experience, and
I think you're just here because you liked us.
Yeah, you guys are all right. But.
So what can you tell us about the marketing program? And maybe how it may be different here as compared to maybe somewhere else.
Well, the marketing program at Rio is quite a bit different just because you do get that personalized attention. Again, you hear it in every brochure, you see it in every commercial, you get tired of hearing about it. I sometimes tell the high schools I get paid 10 cents every time I say small class size or individualized attention. But it's really, really important because you do get to know the students. A lot of the kids that I have in class are the same kids I have in the AMA. And it does, and I had somebody mention at the end of the year banquet for the AMA, it's almost like a family to some regard. A dysfunctional family, but it's almost like a family because you do get to know them quite well. We have several classes, and you'll see those across many colleges, but consumer behavior class, if you're interested in marketing, basically talks about how people think, how they make decisions, what kinds of tricks and tools do stores use to manipulate you into buying. Store layout, all of that is done by a science. Do you use the long aisles? Do you use the short aisles? For example, why do you put the milk in the back? Why do you put the diapers by the beer? And almost every supermarket has that kind of idea. Why do they do that? What kind of music? What kind of lighting? What kind of crowding do you want to use? And again, all that goes back to consumer behavior. And in that class, we have the students do journals. They have to track their purchasing for a couple weeks, record all of it, see where their money is actually going, how they made the decision, what really tempted them to buy it. They see it on TV. They just look in the fridge and realize, I'm out of milk. I got to go to the store. How did they really decide that they needed that product?
Yeah, you went for 3 things and you came back with 10.
Yeah, well, why did you do that? Yeah. Was there any external factors there? So I guess pretty interesting, especially when you get closer to Christmas, because that's a fall-only class. So about November, you start seeing people putting in there, I bought this present for this person. Why? Because I had to get them something. I got them this present because I wanted to get them something. I felt like I had gotten in a fight with my girlfriend. I had to get her this present. You'll see those reasons in there every so often. Marketing research class, we worked with a local business this past spring to design a marketing survey for them that went out to their customers. And they're actually using that survey. So it's a good opportunity to get some hands-on learning. Marketing management, we kind of review a lot of the main concepts. Advertising and promotions class, where they're looking at advertisements, what works, what doesn't. So we do try to keep it pretty hands-on, and again, a lot of the same students in the classes are in the AMA, so they're going to those trips and the conferences and things like that.
So what is the, and say it slow this time, we older people need to have you say it slower. What's the website again?
For the AMA?
Yes.
www.riograndeama.org.
Okay.
And you can follow us on Twitter, too, at Rio Grande AMA.
We've got about 40 seconds. If you're interested in marketing, how would they inquire and maybe talk to someone here?
They can shoot me an email, wthone@rio.edu, or they can call me at 740-245-7347.
Or just go on rio.edu, www.rio.edu, and do a search, Wes Thoene.
Okay, well, we've got 10 seconds. Thanks for being here. It was a pleasure. My name's Mike Thompson.
I'm Patrick Dengel.
I'm Nate.
Wesley Thoene.
Thanks for watching.
Have a great evening.